Sometimes life lets you down and you feel that you are done. You just want a morning run because the fun is all gone. But sometimes life makes you proud when you look far and wide, when you leave the pain behind and see the brighter side. TNC gives you inspiration. TNC reignites your passion. TNC starts your transformation. TNC helps you see the new you.
The new channel. The new channel.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following show are those of the hosts, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the new channel, here to help you see the new you. This is Jesse Francis Rebustillo, your host to this wonderful program, HR Hotline. Welcome back to HR Hotline. This is the day the Lord has made for me. I'm going 64 come November 3, but I'm Chinese, so we count from the start of conception, so I'm 64 already. And I'm a retiree, and I remember the daughter of Femery, Alexine, who will remind me to just relax. You know why? I started my day as early as 8:30 doing a webinar for ECOP, and my topic was succession planning, and it is the last day, and I have 5 CEOs taking the course with me, and then another 3 HR leaders and HR managers. We are 31 in all, so I have to do my best. I'm not using anymore my aircon because I want to have it ventilated, so I don't have my, hindi po naglaba, I don't have my blazer. But as I mentioned to you, from the webinar to this episode, a wonderful episode, we have a wonderful guest, and then later on, as chairman of the Philippine Society for Talent Development, I will do the closing remarks message from the chairman. Then I also have an executive mentoring at 4. Wonderful. We are on a pandemic. We are working remotely, work from home, but yours truly is busy as a bee. Thank you. Thank you very much, Lord. Anyways, the topic for today is a concern of everybody. It's employee engagement. Employee engagement at this time that we are in a crisis. Employee engagement wherein we are not meeting face to face, or if ever, there are protocols that we have to follow that only around 50% should be at work. There are no data yet, but I'm sure productivity has gone a little bit low. I know that because with the agencies that I work with now, if they pay me before pay, 2 weeks after, this time it's a month after. They're having problems for the signatories, for the movement of the papers, processing of the papers. So productivity is at stake, concerns on performance, which can be actually be based on engagement. How do we build engagement at this time? How do we make sure that people are really engaged? Because I also do work from home, managing work from home, we advise that you don't really have to be at the back of your employees, monitoring them day in, day out. COVID compelled us to work on our own, empower people. We cannot, of course, we give them instructions on what to do, but we are now really not after the time that they are there. We keep track, but we're after output. So, how do we build engagement when employees have the passion, passion to do their work, commitment with the company? It should be that I think the first one it should commitment with the organization. May malasakit ba? How will we ensure that they have that commitment? Then the passion for his job, for his role, and the discretion to do it. That there is what we call um, completed staff work. That there is what we call excellence in what we do. What should managers do to inspire people to be engaged? What should be the program of HR to ensure that people are engaged for the business continuity of the organization? Maybe, there's a difference between now you have to talk of the generations, the engagement of the millennials, that is around 24 down, the engagement of the millennials, that's around 24, 25, up to around 38 and 39, the engagement of the X generation, it's around going up to around 58, and then the engagement of the baby boomers. Now that we are not in a face-to-face arrangement, what is that will motivate people? I do emotional intelligence webinars, self-awareness, self-management, self-motivation that leads you to your social skills. How will you be compelled to wake up early in the morning? How will you be engaged? What are the things that we have to do? we have invited a friend of mine. We have been together in the People Management Association of the Philippines for the longest time. I think 2 decades already. There was a time that in the PMAP annual conferences socials, we were dancing to our heart's content. I can still remember that. Very sexy lady. But in 2017, she was chosen and awarded the People Manager of PMAP. She joined SITEL in 2009 and rose from the ranks. I am one of those who listened to her video on her bio. There was a tear in my eye because I can see myself in her. Coming from the province, very close to the family, moving up the ladder. And I was then an inquirer, and I was feeling the same. I can relate. And she's well versed in HR, and she's actually holding a, what do you call this? I will ask her because I don't want to 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 be mistaken on her position now. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome my friend Haidee Enriquez. I call her Heights. Heidi? Heights?
Hi there, kapatid. Magandang hapon, magandang umaga. It's a pleasure and an honor to be part of your noontime show.
Yes. Now, I did not mention it. What is your position now inside Dell?
Okay, so currently my official job title is Chief People Officer of SITEL's operations in the PHANZ region. So yung
Yun yung hindi
PHANZ
ko alam.
stands
What is fans? What is fans?
ano lang yan, madali lang yan. It's Philippines, Australia, and New Zealand. It's the
See?
geographical scope of my job. Oo.
So, right now that you cannot travel, you're actually doing virtual meetings.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Actually, I have been working from home. I have not been in the office since the start of the quarantine. So talagang dito lang ako
Or
sa bahay.
I
Yes.
love your decora. Is that already for Christmas or is what is that? The star at the back.
No, actually, ano 'yan, pinagawa ko 'yan. That's the backdrop of my bed. 'Yan yung parang headboard ng bed ko. So I had an interior decorator do that because so I'm actually my home office is in my bedroom. So
Same
ayan, oh.
here. Same
It's
here.
like
Same here. Same here. Nagtatanong sila, why do you have paintings in your room? Kasi I teach that in my, what do you call this, emotional intelligence. When I wake up in the morning, I must be able to see beautiful things. Ayun, yung nakikita ko yan. So the paintings are actually in my room. That's my bed. That's my bed. Okay.
yeah.
Anyway, ang na-remove lang dyan is my image. Kasi yung image actually, I place it near me. Ewan ko, tumatanda tayo, Heidi. Para bang you need somebody. You have to be. Now, we'll talk, of course, of SITEL later on, but I will ask you, so how is the Australian and New Zealand operations of SITEL?
Right now, I think they're faring better than our Philippines operation. As you probably have heard sa news, ang New Zealand recovered very quickly, no, because of the fast and swift and really purposive action of the government. Sa ngayon, lahat ng aming mga associates are all working from home already in New Zealand. And our operations there is not as big as our
Ay,
operations in the
pardon my
Philippines.
ignoramus question, ignoranting question. Ang tao mo ba sa New Zealand, Filipino or taga New Zealand?
Ano yun?
Ang mga agents mo sa New Zealand, ano ba to? Ay Filipinos or mga New Zealander, how do you call them?
They're mostly Kiwis.
Kiwi. Ano
Kiwi.
yung pronounce it? Kiwi.
Kiwi, Kiwi. It's they're New Zealanders, but the people from New Zealand, they fondly refer to themselves as Kiwis in reference to their. I'm not sure whether it's their national bird, but it's extinct now. The
Pardon.
Kiwi bird.
We're leading to that. Pardon. How many are they? Ilan ang tao mo sa
I don't
New
know.
Zealand?
So New Zealand, it's a small operations. We have around 60 people in New
Ay,
Zealand.
marami na rin dyan. How about Australia? Ano, pardon again the ignoramus question. Ang tao mo ba doon are Australians?
Australians, yes. Yes.
Okay. Yun,
Australians.
you know why I asked that? Kasi, let's now go to our topic, employee engagement. So, how important is employee engagement now that you are actually operating with SITEL, having Filipino uh, staff, employees, and then in New Zealand you have Kiwis, and then in Australia you have Australian. How important is that with SITEL's operation?
Alam niyo, ang engagement, based on my experience, cuts across generations, cuts across geographical
I like.
boundaries. So it
Mm.
really doesn't matter whether kung ano yung kulay mo, kung ano religious affiliation mo, kung anong race mo. Engagement is very, very important, regardless of where you work, where you live, and where you play, so to speak. Experts define kasi engagement. I think it's a very important anchor point, no? Experts generally define engagement as the extent by which associates, or in this particular case, employees, commit to the organization. The kind of effort that they put
Right.
into the uh, the organization reaching its goals, and then also how long they stay as a result of that commitment.
Right.
So by virtue of that definition, na importante yan. Kahit saan ka pumunta, kahit na anong day and age, engagement is very, very critical to any organization.
How do you build that now? How do you build that? Especially, let us consider the pandemic. How do you build engagement now, Heidi? Let's have your SITEL as a sample. How do you build?
Okay. So before I directly answer that, I think important na makita natin kung ano ba yung ano ba yung elements. Pag sinabi nating ang isang tao, yung group of associates are engaged, what does that exactly mean? Okay?
Right, right.
Ano yung mga behaviors that they exhibit. And there are many different types of definitions out there. But what I like is the description that was made by this global organization, consulting organization called Hewitt. Okay? So and they find it very simply. That's why I really like it. So they say that engaged employees stay, say, and strive. So the three S of employee engagement. Stay, which means they stay in the organization. You cannot say that you're engaged, for example, to SITEL if you're no longer part of SITEL. So you stay in the organization. The second part is say. What does that mean? That you are a strong advocate of the brand, that you're proud to be associated
Right.
with
Oo nga.
that organization. Okay. And then the third S is strive. Okay. What it means is that you don't just show up or log in para lang masabi na magkaroon ka ng basis para sa iyong salary, kundi you go the extra mile to deliver what is expected so that you can contribute to the overall goal of the
I like
company.
the say. I
So
like
to
the
say,
say portion. I love
yes,
the say portion because it brings out the people that you are proud of the organization.
absolutely, absolutely. Alam mo, ang tawag ngayon diyan, may movement diyan na you're not just an employee, you're an advocate and a
Right?
promoter Yes, an advocate and a promoter of your brand. Okay? So, ikaw nasa social media ka. So, that means, are you the type of person who are proud to be associated with the
Mhm.
organization that you represent across all of the channels? If, for example, you have friends, do you refer? Okay? Do you want, uy, sama ka, alam mo, dito ka na lang sa SITEL because this is such a strong organization. So, yun yung tatlong anchor points I think that are very
Okay,
important. Now,
let,
going down
let,
to
let, let me catch. So that means if a person is bad mouthing your work and your organization, ay, may issue yun. May
ay,
issue.
hindi engaged yun. That's a disengaged and probably even demoralized, demoralized employee. Kasi ang tawag doon, hindi na promoter, detractor.
Right,
Detractor of the
right.
brand. Yes. So, hindi yan nagdadagdag ng value to the brand. It actually diminishes the value of the brand. So, balik tayo ngayon dun sa question mo, and I like put it very simply. Okay? Because of all of these three dimensions, of course, there are different HR practices that you can
Yep.
or that an HR practitioner or organizations can invest in to make sure na itong tatlong dimensions na to are impacted. Yung intent to stay, yung being an advocate of the brand, and the effort that they put in to do a great job for the organization. Now, in Citel, alam mo yung anchor point namin pagdating sa engagement, especially with the dispersed, what we call dispersed workforce that we have right now. Unang-una, or actually the top three as I call it, the first one, communicate. The second one, communicate. The third one, communicate. Very important because whatever it is that you do, if you do not communicate well, you do not communicate frequently enough, and you don't communicate timely, and you don't communicate transparently, okay, then anything and everything that you do is going to be wasted. Especially in this day and age where, as I said, dispersed ang workforce. Actually, hindi, ang tawag na nga namin, hindi work from home, kundi work anywhere. Okay? Kasi like for
Yes.
example, in my case, typically yung first 3 meetings ko, kapatid na Jessie, I don't even
Mm.
take it from these four corners of my room. I take it while walking around the BGC area because I make it a point na I lodge around 10 kilometers of brisk walking every day. Okay? So
I know.
work anywhere na talaga yung concept. And the other part of it is that it's such a time of uncertainty. And of course, different associates respond to the pandemic and respond to the crisis brought about by the pandemic on their personal lives differently. And so, yung timely, transparent, and frequent communications becomes then an anchor point for them to help them throughout these very difficult times.
Hmm. So it's communication to actually build their engagement. Okay. Before we have our first break, let me ask you this. So what makes an employee highly engaged? So let us look at the slant now of the person whom you expect to be engaged. What are the manifestation that we can see that that person is engaged?
Okay? So I think yung tatlong binanggit ko kanina is that they stay, they say, and they strive. Pero how do you get there? Right?
Yes.
How can you make employees stay? How can you make them advocates of your brand?
Yes.
How
Yes.
can you make them do the extra mile? So doon na ngayon papasok ang what I call HR practices, no?
Yes.
Okay? And ang aming experience sa SITEL is that first and foremost, it is important that you understand what we call the employee's journey. Okay? The
Okay.
employee's journey. Okay? And you need to make sure as an HR practitioner that you understand how they're feeling in each of these particular journey, and in each stages of this journey, and you make sure that you align your resources, your practices, your processes to deliver great experiences across each of the stages of the journey. So simply put, for example, kailan ba nagsisimula yung journey typically ng isang associate into becoming part of
Mag-apply.
the organization?
Mag-apply. Mag-apply.
Absolutely. So recruiting. Okay? As early as recruiting, ano ba yung experience na ibinigay mo dito sa associate na
Right,
ito?
right.
Okay? Ano ba yung at as early as the recruiting process, are you already able to communicate to that particular associate what you stand for as an organization at ano yung iyong employer promise, yung employee value proposition mo. Okay? Kasi remember, critical sa engagement, 'di ba ang sabi nga natin is that we define engagement as the extent to which employees commit to their organization. Okay?
Yep.
And that they're happy with their job. Pero unang-una, dapat alam, ano ba yung trabaho na gagawin ko? And in what way does this work impact or in what way does it link to the overall goal of the organization? So, importante, as I said, na makita natin yung each stages of the journey. So, it can be pagdating sa recruiting, how are you doing that? Are you making sure, for example, that your incoming employees are properly onboarded? O bigla na lang pagdating niya dyan, day one, o sige, bahala ka na sa buhay mo.
Oh,
Okay?
a lot of organizations are still doing that.
Okay, sink or swim, right?
Hmm.
Sink or swim ka. So onboarding, and then when they're part already of the organization, are they placed in a structure where they can operate well? Kasi alam mo, sometimes you bring in, of course, when you bring in people, they go through this entire slew of assessment, of course, because you want the best talent to come into your organization. Pero why is it, kapatid na Jessie, na merong mga superstar, pagdating sa organization mo, they fail?
Oo nga.
Why does that happen? And dito ngayon papasok yung mga HR practices Kasi maaari na, yeah, you brought in a star, but you placed that star in a square box.
Yep.
So it's still not
Sayang
good.
ng potential. Sayang ng potential. Maybe a high performer and a potential na sayang. Because you place that
Absolutely.
person. You place
Absolutely.
that person.
So you need to look at not only at that person, but sa ano yung structure in which nilagay mo yung associate. Ano ba yung mga resources and tools that you have provided these particular associates? Ano ba yung coaching support? Ano ba yung peer support that you have provided? Klaro ba sa kanya lahat ng yun? Ano yung feedback mechanism that you have provided? In what way are you rewarding? For example,
Right.
good performance.
Yes. Yes. Are you
So
rewarding?
lahat ng yun, all of these dimension. Oo. Alam mo sa SITEL, meron kaming 4 na pillars in how we approach this. Okay?
Yes.
So ang hashtag namin is all is well at SITEL. Okay? And the 4 pillars under this to serve as an elucidation is meron kami yung unang-una, well-being, which talks about
Well-being.
culture. Okay, well-being in the entirety of your experience in SITEL, as defined by our culture. Okay, and then the second one is get well, which is health and well-being, health and wellness. Okay, the third one is well done, which means recognition, salary and compensation. And then the fourth component is well-rounded, which is how do we develop you into becoming a better professional and a better person while you are part of SITEL.
Isa-isahin natin yan mamaya for them to benchmark with
course.
SITEL. Yes. Pero gusto ko yung mga well-being, well done.
Kaya all is well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also I would like to ask you later on, yung kasi you mentioned about culture, how does culture has an effect on engagement. Pero you share with us what you do in those four pillars so that we can benchmark with SITEL. Okay, let's have first our first break, Marvin. Welcome back to HR Hotline. I still have to read to you the flash a poster on the TNC shows. That means that you have to be with us as an option the whole week. Can we have mapping the yes? We have the big picture. It is our stories of inspirations, hosted by Lloyd Luna from Mondays to Fridays. Then we have the family business on Saturdays. The fourth project straight from Dubai. Then we have Usapang Beauty, a very fun-filled show. Then we have the COVID original stories from TNC, the COVID stories, and then inspirations that we get from U-Turn, hosted by my friend Carmine Ortega. Then Dante Salamat's The Home Buyer. Be entertained by the puppet stories of Wan Lu from in the afternoon on Mondays, and then we have TNC Marketplace. Is actually an evening show on business, and then we have You Law, having understanding law with fun. Then we have money and more, and the talk on Mondays. After shift, win from within, the Danny stories, foreign affairs, and Healthline. And don't forget, you are my guest every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays lunchtime. So can we have our guest, Haidee Enriquez?
Hi
Heights,
there.
can we continue with the four pillars and tell us what actually do you do? Let's start with the first one.
Okay. Let's which one do you want me to start with?
That's one of the culture because the question actually, I have a question. How does culture affects employee engagement? And you have the first pillar on culture. Well, it's well-being. It's something.
Yeah, the first one is culture, and probably it's not right to say the first one, or because all of these
These
things
are
are very.
pillars. These are all pillars. These are all important. They are all important.
Yeah, so culture is the first one, well-being, and there are many ways, no, by which we promote this, but I think it's what's one of the things that's very important to understand about culture is that it's leader-led. Okay, or in this particular case, if you're the HR practitioner, you need to make sure that you understand that what you do, what you say, the decisions that you make help shape the culture of that particular organization. So in SITEL, we have when we talk about culture, we talk about MAX. Okay, MAX means my associate experience. Okay,
Wow. My
MAX,
associate
associate
experience.
experience. Okay,
Okay.
and this is this one is I think very interesting, no? Kasi one of the things, ano, when we talk about HR, di ba, one of the things that we typically do, we craft policies, and then we institute different programs to improve engagement. But one of the things that we challenged ourselves last 2 years ago was that, do we really understand as members of the management team what's important to our associate, what pains them in their work, what makes them motivated, what makes them demotivated. Do we really understand that? Do we have enough insights kapag ginagawa natin yung pulse survey? Kasi typically, you do your yearly pulse, and then based on the results of that, you craft certain actions. And then we ask ourselves all of those questions. And then it all went down to, okay, why don't we give back the power to our associates? Why won't we give them the power to define what
How do you
their
do that? I'm listening to you, but how do you do that? Do you have series of FGD, series of meetings? How do you
well,
do that?
no, kasi meron na kaming mga FGDs, lahat ng yon part na ng kultura ng SITEL. We have annual satisfaction survey, we have twice a year pulses, we have focus group discussions galore. But the more important thing is what happens after those conversations. And
Yes,
so typically, HR na takes over, right? Pero in this
yes.
particular case, we flip it. And so what happened was that we created small tents of
I
max, what
see.
we call max insiders and max perks. Okay? So like for example, one of the things that was brought up sa aming yearly annual satisfaction survey last year was that yung mga associates feel na wala silang work-life balance. Alam mo naman sa contact center, right? We work at
Yes.
night, and then kapag birthday, you can't go on leave kasi merong trabaho, etc. And so many people feel, many of our associates, based on that pulse survey, said that we want more freedom in selecting our schedules. Kung kailan kami mag-leave,
Mm.
kung gusto ba naming mag-celebrate ang birthday ng aming pusa o ng aming aso, bakit ba hindi? Right? And so, we created, so nakita namin yun sa pulse survey, and so we run a sort of an election process, meaning if you want, this is what you said in the pulse survey, and so we want to know how you think we can solution this, that we give you more flexibility pagdating sa work hours. So hindi kami ang nag-isip ng solusyon. What we said was that sinabi ninyo ito, and since sinabi ninyo, why don't you tell us what you want us to do?
Yeah.
Okay?
Makes sense.
And so, nagkaroon ngayon ng tinatawag na max flexibility
Yes.
project. At yung max flexibility project, the aim is to address that. How can we give our associates more power over their schedule? Instead na inaantay na lang nila na ilabas ng workforce ang kanilang schedule. Right? And so mayroon kami mga max insiders, mga agents, global yan. It's a global project. Okay? Bottom line, ang naging resulta is a tool. It's called Max Flexibility Tool. Kasi sabi nila, wouldn't it be good na we understand na meron talagang kailangan yung business, pero what if kailangan ko talaga ng day off. Eh yung isang tao naman, yung teammate ko, hindi niya naman kailangang mag-day off. Pwede ba kaming mag-swap? Pero syempre, it will be too much for our workforce team para mag-ask isa-isa, right? So sabi nila, bakit hindi natin i-imbue yung ating tool with a leave swapping, schedule swapping, capability? Okay? And so lahat ng yon inilagay namin sa isang system. Our systems development team developed the tool, and then now we've successfully piloted max flexibility in our biggest account here in the Philippines. And guess
Wow.
what? Yung satisfaction level ng mga associates who
Oo.
were part of that pilot was at 98%. So that's how, para sa amin, that's how you build culture. That
Kasi
from
hides not Pikachu. Kasi the usual practice, it's the bosses, the supervisors who are thinking about the swapping. And sometimes people are not really happy about it. Eh.
correct, correct. Correct. Kasi, at saka nag-uusap yan eh. Uy, may negotiation na nangyayari eh. Instead na ikaw mag-impose as a manager, let them do
Good.
the talk. And then sabihin
Right.
lang nila sa'yo through the tool, okay na po, I understand na kailangan na merong tao dyan sa shift na yan. So nakahanap na ako because I want to be on leave during that day because birthday ng mother ko, nakahanap ako ng tao na magmaman ng shift
So
na yan.
the initiative comes from the staff, from the associates.
Yep. So ang ginagawa lang ng workforce is ilagay, eto yung shift, eto yung number ng tao na kailangan namin for this particular shift. Sino ang gusto? Okay? So it starts with a
Wow.
blank slate. It starts with a blank slate. Pero nandun yung business requirement, right? Nandun yung business requirement. Kailangan ko ng 10 tao. But whoever fills that 10 out of your 15, 10 slots out of your 15 associates, you let your associates.
And that
And
is
then,
already culture because you're already instilling on the people responsibility. Diba?
correct. Correct.
Consensuousness. The culture of consensuousness. Eh. Kasi
Yeah.
you will already feel that if I will be absent, the business will not really go. Ay,
Correct.
ang ganda,
Correct.
ang ganda, ang ganda.
And isa kasi sa important component ng engagement, yung feeling of autonomy. Yung hindi ka aliping sa gigilid.
Yes,
You
yes, that
understand.
is,
'Di ba na pinagkakatiwalaan ka. And I think ito important, yung max flexibility is one, and max project in general is one key example of how we can deliver that message. Because
uy,
hindi kami
dapat mabigyan nyo ng award, best practice award yan, dapat.
I hope so. Di ba, Les, sa susunod, yan ang susunod kong
Ang galing, ang
program
galing.
of the
No,
year.
no, it's already there, but you tweak it in a way that there is already engagement and empowerment on the associates, so that they're the ones doing it.
Alam mo,
What is good sa iyo kasi nakagawa ka ng tool.
correct. Kasi yun nga, i-align mo yung tool mo and yung practices mo, yung policies mo based on what associates feel are important to them instead of what you think are important to them.
Yeah. Ay, by the way, Hides, si Obet Policarpio and si Grace Manis Decena are watching us. Kanina pa sila
Hello!
Okay, you still have 3 pillars. What are the things that you do? Is it okay that you give us your formula, your secret of
Oo
success?
naman. Oo naman.
So that we can benchmark. So ano yung other 3 pillars? What do you do?
Yung second one, which is very critical, especially in these times, yung get well, which is all about health and wellness.
Yeah,
All about health and wellness. And we had a total revamp last November 7, okay, mag-go 1 year na, of our health and wellness program kasi we partner with a third party. Pero one of the things that we noticed, based also on the result of the engagement survey, is that sabi ng mga associate namin is that Kasi yung like for example, yung bereavement benefit namin was in cash, ay in like with a partnership with a third party provider. We provide like casket, tapos yung wake, etc. Okay? And our associates were saying, particularly sa Palawan, where around 30% of our associates are of Islam faith. Hindi nila napapakinabangan yun.
Oo naman, oo
Eh,
naman.
kasi hindi yan aligned sa kanilang belief.
Oo,
And then
oo,
so I ask ourselves, so are we truly being inclusive?
oo,
Are we truly celebrating diversity when we have policies and practices like this na akala natin is, oh, ang ganda-ganda nito, ilang kumpanya ba yung nagbibigay ng bereavement and burial assistance? But a certain percentage of our population are discriminated inadvertently from
right.
enjoying that particular benefit. And so, we recast it. We said, okay, hindi na yan. Gagawin na lang natin cash. We will give you 100,000. You can do
Wow.
whatever you want with 100,000. Okay? You can use it for burial, for wake. You can use it to pay, for example, kung may backlog, kung meron kayong arrears sa
Yeah.
hospital, or you
Yep.
can use it for tuition of those left behind. Sa'yo yan, walang question. The other part that we've done sa aming Get Well, which is very critical component, nung aming health and wellness program is yung inclusion na ng mga same gender partners, ng mga common law partners, lahat ng yon in-include na namin. Plus of course, yung dating walang health mental wellness, we've also included that, folded that
Right.
into our Get Well program. Okay? Yung third, may question ka pa ba sa Get Well or other things that you'd like to know there
Yeah,
before
kasi
I...
ang iba, it's just lip service, pero hindi naman talaga na-i-implement. Gaya nung mental health, ha?
Yep.
Everybody's talking about mental health and claiming that they have mental health. Pero talaga wala naman talagang structure to really
Oo.
support that particular endeavor or initiative.
Yeah.
So mayroon
And
pala kayo.
PP Jessie, this you will find interesting. Kasi nga, meron di ba kaming Max community? And this is just last night that I was talking with our Max executive sponsor, yung senior HR director namin. Sabi
Mhm.
niya, nung focus group discussion sila ng mga Max insiders and Max perks, laging lumalabas yung mental wellness and coaching. Okay?
Mhm.
Sabi niya, why not, Heidi, mag-create tayo ng max program, parang max flexibility, but on wellness, on mental wellness. Ang sabi ko sa kanya, go for it. So, by next week, yung max small tent will already give me their proposal. So,
Right.
again, hindi
Yep.
ako ang nag-isip, they will come to me, mga agents, group of
Mm.
agents, managers, and some of them are coaches, will give to me their proposal of how we think we can better address the mental wellness issues that our associates might be facing.
Okay. But the other two, doon na tayo sa other two.
The other one is well done. Okay, that's the third pillar, which is all about salary and compensation. So sa amin kasi sa SITEL, we take a total rewards approach to things, no, that it's not just basic salary, but your basic salary, all of the allowances, both the cash and the non-cash benefits, that really tells you how the value of the kind of work that you do. So kasama dyan yung performance-based incentive. We're one of the very few na talagang malaki yung performance-based incentive namin sa aming mga associates. Like for example, at my level, no, not just at my level, director level and up level, ang aming performance-based incentive is 40% of our basic pay.
Ang laki
So,
nun. Laki nun.
oo. Pero kailangan mong ma-meet yung of course mga
But of course, you
targets.
have
And
a
then the
structure
fourth
to,
one,
there is a structure na nagsusupport niyan, which is siguro yung performance management mo.
absolutely.
Dapat on place yung
Oo. Meron
competencies.
kaming CPM. CPM,
Hello, medyo may connectivity problem.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yes.
nagkaroon ng lag ng konti. So, I'm not sure if I got exactly what you asked. Pero yes, meron siyang supporting framework. Yung incentive plan namin, meron siyang specific design at outcome-based siya. So merong specific outcomes that one has to meet, and depending on your performance versus those desired outcomes, you get compensatory payout.
Kasi alam mo, performance management has an effect on engagement. Kasi if the people feel, if your associates feel that they are not really measured properly, wala.
Yeah,
They
is
are
this
not really
better
engaged.
now?
Yes, better. Yes. Yeah, you're loud and clear. You're loud and clear.
Hello?
Yes, Heidi, we can hear you. Yeah. Marvin, can you help us?
Kapatid, can you hear
Yes, I
me?
can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you well. You cannot hear us? Okay. So let's wait for the connectivity of Heidi. That's actually the problem now. When you are on a live stream, sometimes you are not sure if you're connected. But she was telling me, right, there is a connection between performance and engagement. Because that is a point wherein sometimes people feel that they are not properly measured. And then that is the start of some um, feelings wherein you feel discriminated. So performance is nice. Can we have Heidi again? Marvin?
Oo, correct. Kaya sa amin sa yeah, sa amin sa SITEL, hindi na namin tinatawag yung mga yeah.
We're having some connectivity. Hindi mo tinatawag na Heidi? Sayang yun eh. Importante sana yun na makukuha natin yun. So just like what we were discussing, yung culture po has an effect on employee
Yeah. Am I
engagement.
clear? Can you
Yes,
hear
yes,
me?
yes. You can hear. We can hear you, Heidi. We can hear you. You were telling us you're
Okay.
already. Yeah, Heidi. You were telling us that.
Yes. Yeah. Um sa amin kasi sa SITEL, we veered away from the usual, like, annual performance evaluation.
I
Yung
would like to
aming
listen.
yung
Yes.
performance management process namin, we call it CPM, Continuous Performance Management. So it doesn't become an annual event but a continuing conversation. Tama ka kasi doon sa sinabi mo na yung goals, no, can become a demotivator or a disengagement factor if not aligned, no? Kaya ang discussion namin pagdating sa goal is again a discussion. So like for example, we just had our mid-year check-ins last July. And so what happened was that nag-uusap kami, for example, ako at yung isang direct report ko, we recalibrate. Okay, we said during the first quarter na ito yung measurement ng goals. This is how we've stacked up. What do you think? Is this still fair? Or should we recalibrate and focus our efforts on something else? Especially since medyo nagkaroon ng unexpected event, which is yung COVID. So this becomes now a continuing conversation. So a goal that was set at the beginning of the year, for example, may change depending on the dynamics. Uh,
Wow, wonderful na marunong ka nito pre-COVID. So just imagine kasi ngayon, ang hirap mag-evaluate because nga the reason is nagkaroon ng pandemic because you are following the traditional when you set goals and then you are measured against the achievement of your goals. E nagka-pandemic na nga, di maganda
Correct.
parang itong continuous wherein you recalibrate along the way.
Oo. Alam mo kapatid Jessie, 'di ba? Nag-hit yung pandemic, yung quarantine ng March 16 or 17. Pagdating ng April, nag-review na kami ng aming framework for business unit incentive plan. Tiningnan na namin, okay, etong mga goals na nakalagay dito that our associates need to meet, given the current situation, is it still material? Is
Oh,
it still
nice. That is
impactful?
really
Is it
nice. That
still
is really.
possible? Eh,
Oh,
kasi
oh.
siyempre, nasa COVID situation ka, eh, nag-iba yung situation mo. So that means, most likely, yung imperatives and priorities of the organization also have changed. So how then do you align yung mga goals mo to that particular change? Kasi kung hindi mo gagawin yon, what happens then is that eto na yung priority ng ano ng iyong organization pero completely misaligned
Ah, ah,
dahil
ah,
iba yung goals ng iyong
Actually,
mga
Heinz,
associates.
you really are supposed to do that. All organization must have to do that. Kasi di ba may review. Pero what is wonderful with SITEL? Kasi you already have that in your structure. Even
Correct.
pre-COVID, because it's continuous. So it's a CPM
Correct.
continuous.
Performance management.
Yes. So that when you set the guidelines, it's not hindi pa tapos, hindi talaga cast in stone kasi it's
Correct.
continuous. Very nice.
Correct.
Now we'll have first our second break and then we'll continue with the other two leg and then we'll do our parting messages. Nako, ang dami nating nakikwento. Uy, babalik ka rito, Heidi. Kasi ang dami pang
Ay,
dapat malaman. Hindi pa natin napapag-usapan. Sa ITEL pa lang napag-usapan natin, hindi pa yung iba ha. And this is only the 4 pillars. Nako. So can we have Mabin our second break first before we do our next portion? Wonderful conversations with Heidi Enriquez. Uh, Let me mention first, because this is the job fair portion, there are some vacancies that we are endorsing in this program. Um, the sponsor, Wills Desena and Associate, still vacancies, and you can send your resumes to recruitment at Wills Desena and Associate Incorporated.com.ph. They're looking for engineers, HR, and even a warehouse manager. Puzzlebox also is looking for applicants for their organization, and then you can send it to careers at puzzlebox-inc.com. And then we also have one from Algon, from nurses down to security guard. You can just send your application to algonplace@gmail.com. I am also endorsing events, one of which is the Cebu Regional Conference. Since it is online, you can join us. I'm one of the panelists and register as a participant in the Cebu region. This it will be on October 7 and 8. Then we have PMAP's annual conference and PSTD National Convention. PMAP is actually on October 23 to 21 to 23, and PSTD is on November 16 to 18. Then, yes, POPs. I am the president of POPs, and we have our total online presence conference on October 15 and 16. So there we go. So those are the endorsements and uh, events from HR Hotline. Can we go back to our special guest, Heidi? Heidi, we still have time. Can you tell us the two other
Last
well
one.
done? Yes, yes. The last one.
Last one. Oh, the last one is called well-rounded. The fourth pillar of SITEL's All is Well program. No, well-rounded is all about talent development. So, kaya well-rounded siya, ibig sabihin hindi lang yan knowledge, kundi kasama skills and attitude. Hindi lang yan about developing your career and your managing your progression within SITEL, but also making sure that you are developed, or we help you develop into becoming a better version of you. So, in SITEL, one of our critical people measure is what we call IDP. Okay?
Yes.
Individual, no, sorry, hindi siya, IDP is very important. And our critical measure there in this particular aspect is called IPR, internal promotion rate. At alam mo ba kung ano ang target natin? It's
Mm.
65%. That
Wow.
65% of our mid to higher level vacancies should be filled by internal candidates. And to make that happen, as I said, kasama dyan, of course, ang aming continuous performance management. We have a very rigorous talent review program, may IDPs yan, and meron kaming track training programs. Yung
So
track
succession
training,
planning mo to. Succession planning mo to. Kasi
well,
65%.
yes, correct. Succession planning and talent development program. Kasi going back to Max, no, eto, yung track training programs namin is hindi siya one-sided in the sense na kung gusto kitang i-promote, Pipi Jessie, dahil paborito kita, I can do that. Hindi pwede. Okay? Kasi everyone has to first and foremost apply doon sa track training program, needs to complete it and be
Right.
certified. And then kapag ka-certified ka na at merong nagbukas na vacancy, you can then apply for it because you've already been certified for that particular position.
There is a structure. There is a
Correct.
structure.
Correct. Yeah. Sa ngayon, hindi pa lahat meron kaming mga 7 established track training programs, and yung iro-roll out namin second week of October is our track training program for Director of Operations. So director na yan ha, pero gusto pa rin namin na etong mga directors namin are people na hindi lang namin hinahire sa labas, na marami kaming mga tao na at the director level that we are promoting from within.
So that means that by level ang tracks. By level ang
Yes.
tracks.
Yeah, by level, by position. So we have coach track training program, we have a recruiter track training program, we have an operations manager track training program, a learning manager track training program. So depending on the path that you want to take. For example, kung na-recruiter ako pero gusto kong maging coach or team leader sa operations at some point in time, then I can apply sa track training program and be certified. And once I'm certified, then I can apply already for any of the open coach positions.
So the structure of career development, the career development has a structure for succession planning. Very good.
Correct.
That is a best practice. I'm learning from you. Ay, dapat tumalik kasi we just discussed about the 4 pillars, but I have lots. I have here a list of questions to ask you. I was able to do it because you were very interesting yung 4 pillars in you. And then, of course, sharing what you do, we are already getting insights and benchmarking from. These are best practices. Congratulations to SITEL. Congratulations.
Thank you. And dun sa sinasabing kailangan bumalik ka, di ba, nung isang ping mo lang sa akin, ang sabi ko sa'yo, wala akong karapatang humindi sa'yo. Kita mo lang kahit 2 oras lang ang tulog ko, nandito ako, nag-make up ako
Babalik ka,
para sa'yo.
babalik ka dito kasi I have other, I'm going to ask you with the other HR initiatives that you are doing. Pero one question before you give your parting message. Who is actually responsible now for employee engagement?
We all are. We
Very
all
nice.
are. Yeah, we all are. So that's why Max is important. Eh. Hindi yun you know you're the manager, you're responsible for employee engagement. What we're responsible for, in my mind, is making sure that we have an environment where people can freely express themselves, where people can be the best that they can be. But at the end of the day, all of these opportunities, the employees themselves will have to take ownership. Kahit na marami kang programs, if they're not participating, right? So it becomes for naught. That's why Max is very important. Kasi nga, it gives back the power to our associates. But at the same time, di ba sabi nung uncle ni Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. So at the same time, they have the power to chart their associate journey in SITEL. They also have a responsibility to make that happen.
Nice, nice, nice. Wow, ang bilis ng oras. So can we have your parting By the way, si Grace Ralios and Grace Sena are still watching. Grace Ralios would tell to say hello to you. Okay. Friend ko yan sa FB and we're having fun.
Mga titas of PMAP, unite!
Love ka talaga nila, love ka nila. Anyway, we promise them siguro 2 weeks from now, let's have one more topic kasi I would like to know there are other initiatives in HR initiatives in aside from employee engagement. Kasi, pero what is really wonderful kasi you are putting technology and there is a frame and structure for all the initiatives that you do. So, and then everybody is actually involved, but is engaged. So nice, wonderful to know. Heidi, can we ask you for your concluding or parting message?
Yeah, I'm sure many of our listeners or watchers are HR practitioners, and my parting word is really to my fellow HR practitioners. These are certainly very trying, unprecedented times, and our profession as HR practitioners were put now in a very in a very difficult situation between doing or deciding what we think is best for our business and deciding what is best for our associates. And this is really when a true HR leadership comes through. So I hope and pray that all of our HR practitioners out there remain steadfast, and of course they need to stay safe and well to be able to lead the organization through these trying times. And I am very confident that at the end, when this ends, that people will look back in these very difficult times. Our associates will look back in these very difficult times and say that, our HR team, our HR leader made a difference. That's why we were able to successfully surmount the difficulties of the pandemic. So stay in there, stay strong, stay beautiful, and remember, what we do in HR matters because we change lives and we change communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Heidi. Usually I do a concluding statement, but with that, that is enough. But what I like is stay beautiful.
Of course. Of course. Everything
Of
has to
course.
start here. We cannot share what we do not have.
Yeah. So, thank you very much. Nag-overtime na po kami. This is Jesse Francis Rebustillo. Just marvelous po.